Welcome back, dear viewers, and you're still watching the Breakfast Show. And in this segment of our program, we will talk about the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development and its decision to be Egypt's main partner with regard to the energy access of the Novi platform. And now we are joined over the phone by Dr. Hafez Salmawy, Professor of Energy Engineering at Zakazaki University. Good morning, Mr. Hafez.
Good morning,
Yes.
and my regard to you and our viewers.
So, sir, as I've just mentioned that the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development has decided to be Egypt's main partner with regard to the energy access of the Navy platform. Can you tell me more about the importance of this platform and the importance of this decision by the European Bank?
This platform has been created by the Ministry of Environment jointly with Ministry of International Cooperation as a hub to attract finance for environmental projects, basically focusing on projects for energy, water, and food. A total of $15 billion to be used for this. In order to enable finance as well as credit for some projects. This platform has been created in cooperation with different international partners, including EBRD, European Bank for Development and Reconstruction, as well as EIB, as well as World Bank and African Bank for Development and Reconstruction.
Yes, Dr. Salmawy, also tell us more about the importance of the international financing institutions' keenness to implement the slogan moving from pledges to finance mitigation and adaptation projects, which was launched by the climate change conference in Egypt last November, COP27.
Basically, Egypt is using different and many instruments in order to enable finance. One of them is Novi platform for sure, but also we remember in 2021, Egypt issued its first issuance for green bonds for financing, as well as through attracting private sector, and they have an access to international partner to enable finance. All of us remember BEMBAN, practically EBRD was financing of a total around $6 billion. Of a project which has been implemented in BEMBAN. Also, many other projects Egypt already have an access to finance from EBRD with other partners. International financing institutions are very important partner to enable low-cost finance, specifically if they are development partner. I mean, like World Bank, EBRD, EIB. It's not just commercial bank, I mean. This will enable reasonable finance which help to accelerate the transformation to green economy.
Yes, can you elaborate also on the role of the private sector in green transition and implementation of renewable energy projects?
This is very much important because project financing practically it's come from two sources. One of them comes from the investors themselves in a form of what we call it equity, and part come from the international financial institution in a form of what we call it loan. So both loan and equity form the financial structure of any project. So financial institution is not only finance program, but also they should be a recipient who is a private investor. Private investors and financial institutions usually require what we call it a conducive environment for investment. And Egypt basically has made a lot of enhancements to its environment for investment in Egypt, and also Egypt has a good track record in attracting that. Private sector are very crucial because if you consider the target Egypt has set for itself for the green transition, it's beyond what could be financed by a public finance. Therefore, private finance is very much important to complement or enable or leverage this finance, which still the government will play a part of it, but for sure the major will be by the private sector.
So, sir, also, how important are the green hydrogen projects that Egypt is keen to implement?
Green hydrogen may be the new trend in the green transition. Actually, Europe, for example, issued a strategy for green hydrogen. They expect that they will have by 2050 a need of 60 million tons of green hydrogen. The maximum capacity Europe could produce based on its resources from renewable energy is 30. So there is a gap of 30 million tons which need to be imported from abroad. Egypt, on the other side, represents a very good partner in this. Egypt has substantial resources of renewable energy. Egypt are very close to Europe for export, and Egypt has a big industry either for ammonia, which is one of the carriers of the green hydrogen, as well as Egypt has Suez Canal, where many of ships passes and being refueled. And part of, for example, European plan is to green the marine transportation. So we expect that a lot of supply of green fuel, including hydrogen, will be supplied through also the Suez Canal. So Egypt believes that it could have a leading role in the transition using green hydrogen, and a lot already of MOUs and even framework agreement has been signed in the last COP for producing green hydrogen in Egypt.
So, sir, also, how do you see the significance of the $80 million agreement signed by the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development during the climate conference in Sharm el-Sheikh to develop the first green hydrogen production facility within the Suez Canal Economic Zone to produce green ammonia for the fertilizer industry, which is the first in Africa?
Yes, this is very much important. It's a step. Very much to have a start like that. Actually, green ammonia represents maybe the first facility to enable to transport and export hydrogen abroad. Also, we know that ammonia is being used in fertilizer production also. So also this could help in producing green fertilizers, which complement the idea of food, water, and energy nexus. So it's a very much important. Egypt believes that the Suez Canal Economic Zone, specifically Sokhna area, could be a hub for the production of green ammonia in Egypt and internationally.
Yes. Also, sir, why do you think it is essential to stop working and dispose all power stations that operate on fossil fuels after their efficiency has declined and replacing them with others within the framework of the green transition?
Sure. Yani, as all of us know that one maybe of a dispute area which was created during the COP was about phasing out fossil fuels, including oil and gas. One of the main consumers of fossil fuel is the power sector. And if we would like to go for energy transition, which means that reduce our demand on fossil fuel and shift our demand to more environmentally friendly power supply sources like renewable energy, for sure the first priority will go for low efficiency plants, because this is the plants which consume more fuel and make much more pollution. And practically part of the NOAFI program is to give priority through producing 10 gigawatts of wind energy to replace 5 gigawatts of low efficiency power plants which rely on both gas or fossil fuel. So this is part of the energy transition plan of Egypt.
So also the director of the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development elaborated that the support provided to the Novi platform is divided into 1 billion euros for new wind energy projects established by the private sector. So can you tell us more about the importance of the wind energy projects in the coming period?
Actually, Egypt has substantial resources of wind energy.
Yes.
We have over 300 gigawatts of wind resources spread all over the country. We have the Western Desert, we have close to the Nile Delta, east and west of Sohag. We have close to the Mediterranean, south of Saloum and Marsa Matruh, and we have south of Al Wahad. So we renewable as well as in Tor in Sinai. So we have wind energy in many areas, in addition for sure to our traditional zone, which is Gulf of Suez. So Egypt has substantial resources. As we mentioned, that there is a plan to phase out part of the low efficiency plant and replace them with wind energy specifically, because wind energy has a high capacity factor. So the 10 gigawatts of wind energy will replace 5 gigawatts of conventional plant, which is using fossil fuel. This will help Egypt in two directions. One of the directions for its energy transition and moving to green, as well as save natural gas, which could be exported abroad and create another stream of revenues. So this will help in two directions, moving to green as well as creating another stream of revenues for Egypt. So it's very much important for Egypt to go in that direction.
Yes, also part of this support will be directed to improving the government energy networks with a fund of 300 million euros. How important is the renewal of the government energy networks at this stage?
This is very much important because in power business or business chain in power business is not just to generate, but also to transmit and distribute energy. Unless you have a good network for transmission and distribution, whatever you produce, you couldn't use it. So it's very much to enhance the grid, both transmission and distribution, and not just that. Actually, the type of renewable energy we are talking about, like wind or solar, are, we call it variable supply sources, which is mean it's not fixed all the day around. It's being changed. This is necessitate a kind of more advanced network, much better control, more stronger network. So investing in network is a crucial and complementary part of the generation from this renewable energy sources.
Yes. So moving to the Bimban solar energy project in Aswan, to what extent it achieved success in generating energy from solar cells?
Actually, Bimban, I could say it's a pioneer project in different directions. Pioneer project for renewable energy, which is one of the largest solar PV solar plants around the world, one of the largest, not the largest, but one of them, for sure. Second one, Bimban is an investment project to represent a kind how you could coordinate 32 investors to invest in same place and have a successful model and access to finance, as we mentioned, and could conduct projects in 2 years. So basically, Bimban project is a benchmark in that direction. And this is why the World Bank offered Bimban project one of the best projects around the developing world for attracting investment. Also, Bimban has an impact on its local community because nobody was knowing Bimban village before, but now Bimban village are quite famous. The investor already not just invested in renewable energy, but also dedicated part of their investment for development of the local community. So this is basically integrate how renewable energy could play a role in boosting, creating jobs and development of the community around where this project is being developed. So Bimban, basically, I believe it's a benchmark in many directions, not just only in renewable energy, which for sure one of its main contributions.
Yes, sir. One final question. How do you see the importance of Sharm el-Sheikh Guide to Fair Financing, which was launched by Minister of International Cooperation, Rani al-Mashat, during the activities of the COP27 climate change?
I think this is very much important, this announcement for that, because basically this facilitates finance. One of the main challenges for moving to green or energy transition is basically to enable finance with accepted terms and conditions in order to finance this project. So it's very much important in that direction. And as I mentioned before, Egypt used different instruments in order to attract investment through cooperation with partners, through local investments, through offering or subscription for green bonds, which is being issued through bilateral agreements. So I think diversifying instruments is very much important, because one instrument might not enough to achieve the total goals we are looking for.
Yes, finally, I'd like to thank you, Dr. Hafez Salmawy, Professor of Energy Engineering at the University. Thank you, sir, for being with us. And the viewers, short break, will be back with our second segment for today, so stay tuned.